If I've got the power and you've got the power, then who's got the power? Everybody!
Thank you for joining us at Uncovering Mr. Right, a Voice Enterprises Incorporated sound production for entertainment purposes only. All the views and opinions by our guests are their own.
Thanks for chiming in again. This is Miss Wright, bringing it once more from the Motor City. And today we're going to get another man's perspective on finding his Miss Right. And again, get some more tips for us ladies. Today we have with us Troy from Baltimore. Troy, I want to thank you for joining us today. Again, I just want you to be comfortable, truthful, and just be yourself and let the audience see things through your eyes. So before we get started, if you want to tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, sure, not a problem. Hello to all. My name is Troy English. I am 31 years old. As mentioned earlier, I live in Baltimore, Maryland, born and raised. Have two beautiful kids, a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old. I like to consider myself educated. I graduated from the University of Baltimore with my BS degree, concentration with entrepreneurship. A year later, I went back and I finished my MBA degree with a specialization in project management. I currently work for the Social Security Administration, and I'm part of a leadership development program. And I also am a certified personal trainer and a basketball coach during my spare time.
Wow. Now, and are you single, Troy? Are you single, Troy?
Yes, I am.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, wow. I'm definitely impressed. So, Troy, can you tell us how a lady would know if a guy was truly into her, and what signs should she be?
Okay. A lady would know by a guy's actions, and I'm a firm believer in actions speak louder than words. Now, a guy can tell a lady whatever she wants to hear, but if he's not following up, if his actions do not match up with his words, then he's just blowing smoke. So the easiest way for a lady to tell whether a guy's interested or not is to look at his actions. They will tell you everything.
But, Troy, then you have those smooth-talking guys who seem to just make you melt when they talk. And sometimes they're not that sincere. So is there a way to kind of, shift through that?
Absolutely. No, there are guys who definitely have the quote-unquote gift of gab. But, again, if you study a man's actions, you will know where their head is at. And that's the key point that ladies should understand. And when you study his actions, you want to make sure that his actions are consistent with what he's saying and consistent over a long period of time. Because a guy can say something and then do it once or twice, and then it just falls off of the mat after that.
Got you. Sounds good. What's one of the first things that attracts you to a lady, other than her physical appearance?
Her smile. And if I can name another one, her walk. I love a lady that has a confident walk and a great smile.
All right, that definitely sounds great. What would you say were your turnoffs? What are some things that kind of turn you off from a lady initially?
Initially, I would have to say, well, before I even get to know them, there would have to be a frown, opposite of a smile. I do not like women that frown, that look like they're mad at the world all the time, because there's always something to smile about. So it would have to be a woman with a frown on her face.
All right. Let's see. How do you feel about don't ask, don't tell? And do you feel it's okay to not tell if you have not been asked?
Personally, yes. I do like the don't ask, don't tell motto. I think it's okay, because I don't think everything is meant to be told, but I do think if you are asked, then you are obligated and now being held accountable to answer what was asked of you. So I do believe in the don't ask, don't tell.
Do you think that there should be some type of level to that? Because some people could kind of take that a little bit too far.
That is true. That is true. There should be some type of level, but I don't know if there's a standard level. I guess that's dependent upon the two people who are entering into the friendship or entering into the relationship as to how deep they want to go into the question. Because I believe sometimes we ask questions that we really don't want to know the answer to. And on the opposite end, some people, I have met one myself, who have told me, some things they just don't want to know, so they don't even bother to ask.
Okay. Let's see. Nowadays you have men that are saying they want a freak in the sheets and a lady in the streets. What are your views on that?
I agree. I agree. I definitely like her to be a freak in the sheets for me, but also carry herself and conduct herself as a true lady with good character and integrity while she's in the streets. Because while she's in the streets, she's a representation of me. So I would definitely want her to be of high character.
Okay, all righty. That sounds good. How long do you think you should wait after you meet to have sex with someone? And would you look differently at a lady who gave it up on the first date?
For the length of time, I honestly would have to say that would depend on the woman. I really think the woman kind of dictates the length of time about her actions, how she acts, and how interested she seems, how she puts herself out there. So for me, that would it varies. That would depend on the woman for me, because you can kind of get a feel from women who want to jump right into it on the first date, and then you get a feel other women who tell you without saying, you're going to have to wait a while, you're going to have to earn it. So I would definitely say that would depend on the woman, but as men, I think we know that within the initial meeting.
All righty. Well, Troy, there's something that I want to know, and I'm sure that if I want to know this, and I'm sure there's ladies out there that want to know this. You seem like a great guy. I just want to know, why are you single, or why do you think you're single, and are you not looking?
Well, for me, it's a personal choice. As a teenager, going to my young adulthood, I spent almost 7 years in a relationship. I got out of that, went to another relationship for another 3 years. So I spent a good portion of my life in relationships. Now, for me, I had to take a step back and say, okay, hey, I need time for myself, and I need time to figure out what I really want, because I don't want to keep jumping in and out of relationships, being in relationships for 4 or 5 years, and then stopping that and going on to something else. So for me, it's more of a personal choice, and I also would like to spend more time with myself, get to know myself better, and work with myself, better myself. That way, when I go to the next relationship, I can be that much better as a man.
Okay. Wow. I'm sure that all of this information that you provided will definitely help someone out. I am definitely been enlightened. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the ladies who are looking for Miss Right and Mr. Right, excuse me? Sometimes people go both ways nowadays, but we're just talking about their Mr. Right. Any suggestions or words of encouragement that you would like to give anyone before we wrap this up?
Yeah, for ladies, just don't settle, on the first good-looking guy that you see, or the first guy that, quote unquote, spits some good game to you, or, don't settle. Pay close attention to his actions. Listen to what he says, but pay close attention to his actions, because that will definitely tell you what he's thinking and what's on his mind and where he wants to go. That way, I believe you can eliminate a lot of the crap that you all have to go through, if you just pay attention to a man's actions. Sometimes ladies are caught up in the looks of a guy or the quote-unquote swag of a guy or the car that he's in, the clothes that he drives. So you're blinded by all of that, you know, and you're really not listening to what he's saying, and you really don't see what he's doing. And when those two things don't add up, then that should be a red flag for you. So I will leave you with that tip, a little bit of information, and you know, hopefully you can make some, you know, wiser choices.
Okay, thank you. That was very beneficial. I might have to take a few notes on that myself. All right, Troy, I just got one last question I want to ask you. Can you tell me a little bit about your last relationship? What did she do wrong, if anything, or what did you do wrong?
Okay. Well, for starters, you know, we both absolutely made mistakes. You know, from my end, I believe that, you know, I didn't dedicate as much time into a relationship that I could have. And so I think that breeds some insecurities. And I think that's where she went wrong. Now, granted, she was a beautiful young lady, but at the same time, she was very, very insecure. And I struggled myself trying to figure out how can someone so beautiful, you know, be insecure within themselves. You know, and I still haven't found the answer to that question. But again, you know, she had her insecurities. I had time issues where, you know, I was dedicating my time to other things, not other people, but finishing school, my master's degree, my regular job, and my personal training job as well. So I didn't commit as much time to it as I should have. And she had every right, you know, I guess, to feel that insecurity that she felt within herself if I'm not around her all the time. And that's the thinking I've come to find out with a lot of women. If your man's not spending that time with you, then he must be spending that time with someone else. But that is not necessarily always true. So that's where we fell short, and we just kind of decided it was best that we split apart.
Got you. I just want to kind of say some off of your statement in regard to kind of women sometimes feeling insecure, and this is what I've kind of experienced, kind of vice versa, that sometimes I feel as though if you like jump into a relationship and you guys are like spending like together like 24/7, sometimes it's difficult when you need to pull apart and start doing other things because people start to get used to it. It's familiar. So, you know, when people's lives start to pick up, and not saying that's the case, I know how I felt this way sometimes, and I know that some guys have felt this way towards me too, and sometimes, you know, as life progresses or changes, people kind of, you know, get hesitant or kind of start to suspect some things that are not familiar what was usually established. So now sometimes in my relationship, even if, and not saying I'm not giving 100%, but I try to not lose sight of myself, so therefore there's still some balance between my relationship and the person that I'm dating and my friends and work and coworkers and all that good stuff.
That's an excellent point because you're dead on. Like in the beginning, we spent all of our time together. I mean, when we first got together, we spent 21 straight days in a row together, and that's a very, very long time, you know. And then I guess after the honeymoon phase is over, the time slowly began to decrease, which is probably why she felt, okay, if I don't have his time anymore, then someone else must have his time. But it is so true what you said, and that you got to find a good balance. And a lot of times in the beginning, we do spend ample amount of time, but that we can't keep that going forever. So great point.
Right. But I just want to thank you again, Troy, for joining us. Hopefully maybe the next time we chat with you, someone would have scooped you up. But if not, make sure to maintain who you are, and you take it easy, Troy.
Absolutely, and thank you very much.
You are.
Thank you for tuning in for Uncovering Mr. Right. He said, she said, with Reese Cortland and Latrina Davis. Thank you, and stay tuned for more of Uncovering Mr. Right.